Open the study session meeting at 5 p.m. on September 28th, 2021. Roll call, please.
Susan Smith present.
Jesus Salim present.
PJ Johnson present.
Daryl Peeden present.
Martin Rex Kedziora present. He's
coming right there. Dr. Bird, it's your turn to say your second name. Say your name.
Ms. Maddox, are you present?
Maribel Maddox present.
All right. Dr. Verde?
Robert Verdi present.
All right. And Ms. Lopez?
Zana Lopez present.
All right. Okay, moving on to Pledge of Allegiance. We have Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Dionisio Samanigio. I believe that's correct. Claudia?
Sorry, Samaniego, Dionisio Samaniego.
Yes, thank you so much.
You did good, Mr. Peeden.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dionisio Samaniego, and I am an alumni from Moreno Valley High School and a current freshman at Cal State San Bernardino. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you, sir. All right, moving on to item B, public comments on agenda items. Anyone wishing to speak on any agenda item may do so at this time. Individual speakers shall be allowed to speak for 3 minutes on any agenda item. The Board of Education shall limit the total time for public input on each agenda item to 21 minutes, Board Bylaw 9323B, Section 5. Per Board Bylaw 9323, twice the allotted time will be provided to a member of the public utilizing a translator. Do we have any speakers at this time on agenda items?
No public comments.
Thank you very much. All right, now we're moving on to item C, study session, special study session on career technical education programs and facility projects updates. Today we do have Mr. John Black, Director of College and Career Readiness, and teams will also be here to provide a PowerPoint presentation on career technical education programs. And we will also have Ms. Lopez, Chief Business Official, Samir. I'll need help with Samir's last name. Anybody want to help me out?
It's Zamer Al-Zubaidi.
Yes, oh yeah, Samir, yes. Director of Facilities and team will also be here to provide a PowerPoint presentation on an update on facility projects here in the district. Thank you for the assistance on the pronunciations of names.
Mrs. Maddox, do you want to introduce your, John Black and your division? And
Yes, Dr. Kedziora. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to give an overview of our CTE programs here in the district. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. John Black, Director of College and Career Readiness. I must say he's been with us 6 months, and he already, as you will see tonight, has taken charge of this program, this department, to not only meet student needs, but to also reflect the business sectors and where the jobs are for our students. So with that, it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. John Black.
Thank you, Mrs. Maddox. Board President Peeden, School Board, Dr. Kedziora, and Cabinet, thank you for allowing me time this evening to kind of get you up to speed on some of the updates we have with regards to career technical education. I appreciate your time, and I just want you to know that going in. If you have any questions along the way, feel free to stop me and ask them. Or at the end, we could have time for questions as well. But I just want you to know anything you want to ask, I'm ready to answer. So as Mrs. Maddox said, I'm the Director of College and Career Readiness. And so this evening, we're going to talk about career technical education. As you know, our strategic plan has 5 goals, a vision, mission statement, portrait of a graduate, and our 11 commitments. Tonight, what I'd like to do is highlight commitments 4, 5, and 10. That's being personally and collectively responsible for our actions and outcomes, intend to be successful and collaborative, and enhance community through action. And I'm highlighting those 3 because it really does take all of us for CTE to be successful for our students. It takes industry partners, it takes teachers, it takes the community. We all have to work together. And then I want to highlight goals 2 and 3, which is establishing college and career readiness for every student and ensuring equitable opportunities for every student. And I'm going to come back to those 2 goals towards the end of the presentation, but those are the ones we're focusing on this evening with regards to CTE. And then the portrait of a graduate. CTE classes really give the students the opportunity to showcase their competencies with regards to creativity, critical thinking, adaptability, collaboration, communication, and perseverance. So you'll see that as we go throughout tonight. Kimberly Green, who's the executive director for Advanced CTE, says, career technical education shares the initiative's goal that all students must be college and career ready. CTE programs that incorporate Common Core standards will ensure students have the academic and technical knowledge and skills to be successful in the 21st century workplace. And I think you'll see through this presentation that our CTE programs do just that. My department is made up of myself, Maria Lozano, who's our career development facilitator, who really helps me with the clerical aspects of CTE, and Courtney Contreras, who's the secretary 3 in our department. Tonight, we're gonna look at all aspects of career and technical education in our district. We're gonna look at the different pathways, the career technical student organizations, industry certifications, work-based learning, CTE advisory meetings, the grants and monies that support career and technical education, some CTE construction, and then what career technical education looks like at the middle school and elementary levels. So let's get going. Michael Enzi, who is a former US Senator, says, we are looking for ways to decrease the dropout rate. I'm pretty sure if we eliminate career and technical education, we're going to increase the dropout rate. And I'm going to be talking tonight about how CTE has helped our graduation rate and helped our dropout rate. So I really echo what he has to say. So first, by the numbers. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put up a number in your mind, kind of think what that might be, and then I'm going to share what that number is. And our first number is 26. 26 is the number of pathways we currently offer in our district at our high schools. And that, by the way, incorporates not only our traditional high schools, but our alternative high schools as well. 298,522. That's the amount we were awarded in 21-22 for Perkins. Perkins is the federal monies that we support CTE with. And by the way, all of the pictures in this presentation, with the exception of one picture I'll point out later, are our students from the last couple of years in our CTE pathways. 30. 30 is the number of CTE teachers in Moreno Valley. To be a CTE teacher, you don't just have your regular teaching credential. You have to have a CTE credential. And to get a CTE credential, you have to have experience in the industry in which you're going to teach a pathway. So there's 30 teachers in our district that are certified to be CTE teachers. $1,677,710. That's the amount we have received through 3 rounds of Strong Workforce Program grant funding, also known as SWP. So in 3 rounds, we've gotten over $1.5 million. 2, that's the number of district CTE advisory committee meetings we schedule each year. And I'll talk more about what advisory committee meetings are for later. 3,096. That's the number of students currently enrolled in our CTE pathways. So in our 26 pathways, we have 3,096 students.
Could I ask a question on that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we have 3,096 students enrolled in our CTE pathways. Do you have any idea, and you probably don't, how many of these students actually go on to a career in one of the pathways because of their training in high school? How many go on to get a college degree in one of these fields? Are they really prepared for a job when they come out of school having followed one of these CTE pathways?
So Ms. Smith, I don't have those exact numbers for you. I can work on getting you exact numbers, but I am going to share some actual stories of our students and how they went on to do that either in college or through career.
All right.
But
right.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm very interested in getting our kids that don't go to college prepared to do something after they finish high school. And that's a concern of mine.
Thank you. And again, I will get you those numbers to the best of my ability, but I am going to share some actual stories with the board tonight.
Thank you. I know it's hard to track down people after they leave our school district.
Yes. Number 1. That's the number of CTE pathways we plan to add next year. And I will talk about that on an additional slide. 395. That's the number of students on track to complete a CTE pathway this spring. To be considered a completer of a CTE pathway, you have to take both the concentrator class and the capstone course and pass them with a C- or better. So right now we have 395 students in a capstone that took the concentrator in either last year or the year before and passed it with a C- or better and could end up as completers this year. And I will come back to that later in the presentation. 1,424,391. That's the amount we applied for through the Career Technical Education Innovation Grant, known as CTEG, for 21-23. We won't hear about that until January because in the most recent state budget, they put in $150 million more for CTEG. And so there was some additional paperwork districts have to complete. It's due by mid-October. And then we'll find out in January how much we're actually been awarded for CTEG. And then infinity, endless. And that's for the possibilities in CTE. CTE really does open up opportunities for our students, as Mrs. Smith alluded to. And so we're going to see some of that as we go through. So what exactly is CTE? So I wanted to share this video, which it's like a minute and a half, which kind of gives you a brief overview.
Everyone wants kids to be ready to take on the real world, right? So what's the secret? Say hello to CTE. CTE is Career Technical Education. Maybe you've never heard of it, but CTE gives learners an academic foundation along with technical skills and hands-on experience in a whole bunch of different areas to help them get ready for the real world. Think of CTE as a high school experience, but with even more value because it fills a big gap for a lot of students. In fact, CTE learners and their parents are 3 times as likely to say they're very satisfied with the ability to learn real-world skills as part of their education as compared to non-CTE learners and their parents. And since over 75% of CTE learners enroll in post-secondary education after high school, CTE is definitely creating a path to college and career success. And get this, they have a graduation rate over 10% higher than non-CTE students. Did you know 89% of parents think students should receive more education about career choices while in high school? That's where CTE comes in. Think about it. Is it better to experiment with career choices when you're paying money to do so in college? Or should it happen in high school so students know a lot earlier whether a career option is the right fit? The answer is fairly obvious, don't you think? Now let's talk about why CTE is good for business and industry. It's pretty simple. Companies want skilled employees, and they're having a hard time finding them, which can cost a company money in lost productivity. Enter CTE. 6 of the 10 hardest to fill positions are in technical fields or require a CTE background. In fact, about half of all CTE learners are enrolled in programs in leading fields such as healthcare, STEM, and information technology, matching employer needs with student passions. CTE programs directly connect learners in high school and post-secondary with employers through internships, apprenticeships, and other meaningful on-the-job experiences. When it comes to CTE, more than twice as many CTE parents report being satisfied with internship opportunities. That means a lot of doors are being opened for kids. So here's the bottom line. Parents want their kids to find a career they can be passionate about. Kids want the same thing. And when you think about the real world, what could be better than having learners enter a field they know is right for them with a ton of hands-on experience? It's all possible thanks to CTE. CTE, learning that works for America. To learn more, visit careertech.org.
So in California, career technical education is a program of study that involves a multi-year sequence of courses that integrates core academic knowledge with technical and occupational knowledge to provide students with a pathway to post-secondary education and careers. And while I don't have the exact numbers for our district that Ms. Smith was asking about, if you noticed in the video, 75% of students in CTE typically go on to college, and they typically have a 10% higher graduation rate than students not in CTE. So in California, there's 15 industry sectors, and currently in our district, we have pathways in 10 of those. And as Mrs. Maddox alluded to at the beginning when she was doing the introduction, these are the ones in our area that have the most opportunities and are most viable for our students. We also have the potential to have a building and construction trades pathway in the future. We just have to find the right teacher for that. And again, it has to be a CTE credentialed teacher. But all the blue stars indicate the industry sectors that we have pathways in. And I'm going to be going through each school and showing you what we have at each site. So at Canyon Springs High School, we have 4 pathways. We have business management, which currently has 123 students in it. Cybersecurity, 178 students. Graphic design, 121. And patient care, 151. If you notice next to business management and patient care in the brackets, it's under business management, it says Business Academy, and next to patient care, it says Health Academy. Some of our pathways are also California Partnership Academies. And not only do those students take the concentrator and capstone classes, all of their classes, those teachers are part of the same pathway, so they share students. So when they're taking math within the Business Academy, that math teacher is doing not only say integrated math 1, but talking about business math and making sure that they see the connections between math and business as an example. So at Canyon, they have 2 academies as part of their career technical education pathways. At Moreno Valley High School, they have business management, culinary arts, graphic design, public safety, technical theater, and welding and materials joining. And you'll notice on this slide, both culinary arts and technical theater have an asterisk next to them, and that's because those are brand new pathways this school year. So 6 pathways at Moreno Valley High School. At Valley View High School, we have automotive, cybersecurity, engineering technology, which again is a new pathway this school year, legal services, patient care, which is part of the Health Academy at Valley View High School, sports medicine, and video production. At Vista Del Lago High School, we have emergency response with 32 students, engineering design with 281, engineering technology with 39, graphic design with 322. And you might ask, how do we have 322 students in graphic design? That's because we have multiple teachers teaching that pathway there. Manufacturing technology, we have 136 students. Then they have patient care, which is part of the Health Academy at Vista Del Lago with 157 students, and public and community health pathway at Vista Del Lago. At Bayside Community Day School, we have our professional sales pathway, and that's taught by Mrs. Maria Garcia Cortez. And Mrs. Garcia Cortez is with us this evening, and she is going to share a little bit. So Mrs. Garcia Cortez, feel free to unmute and jump in.
So we have a video for you in just a second to show you what we do here. But again, I'm Maria Garcia Cortez. Sorry about the misses there. We do have a marketing, sales, and service professional sales pathway with 2 courses, the advanced retail operations course, which is your capstone, and your concentrator course, which is the retail sales and marketing course. In either course, students gain work-based learning experience and build a job portfolio for the purpose of applying the skills learned in the classroom out to the work environment. So without further say, let's show them the video, Mr. Black. Do you mind?
Not at all.
Welcome to our school-based enterprise. As an SBE employee, we perform many retail operations. We can take part in selecting the product vendors, constructing product displays, merchandising, stocking products, and promotional activities. The school-based enterprise is a work-based learning environment. We practice creative production, operate direct-to-garment printing equipment, and learn entrepreneurial skills. I'm Eris Witherspoon, a junior here at Bayside Community Day School and a student in the Marketing, Sales, and Service Pathway.
So as you can see in the video, there's a couple of things that I didn't mention to you. And one of them very important in the capstone course, which is the advanced retail operation course, we still offer students an opportunity to go out to business sites and do unpaid internships. Ideally, those business sites also are the business sites that we use during the summer in the Asterisk program. I know Mr. Black is probably going to tap on that as well. But in the classroom, besides, we call it the school-based enterprise, because as you can see behind me, we have a couple of direct-to-garment printers. And so in addition to selling retail items, we also go through product development as part of the curriculum. So any questions you may have, I think we still have a couple of minutes. I'll be glad to answer them. We are an alternative Bayside Community Day School, so our terms are 6 weeks long, 8 weeks long, term after term. And of course, we go through the curriculum a little bit faster in the pathway than we would at a comprehensive high school. Questions? It's been a pleasure sharing with you. Mr. Black can always get a hold of me, of course, if there's anything I could do to further our pathways. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia Cortez. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. So the one picture that is not our students is this one right here. And that's because cosmetology doesn't start until next year. And so for the 22-23 school year, March Mountain High School is on track to have a cosmetology pathway. And Mr. Quintero, the site principal, is very excited for this. I'm excited for this. And students and the community seem to be very excited for this pathway. So I just want to let you know it's coming. And as Ms. Maddox said, I've been in this position for about 6 months now. And one of the things we've been working on is the career and technical education plan for the district. This evening, we've mentioned the pathways so far. We've mentioned the industry sectors. We're also going to be talking about industry certification, the career technical student organizations, advisory, etc. And so we're working on this document. So all that information will be in one place for anyone that wants to see it. So right now it's in draft form, but it's coming. The slide does remind me to mention one thing though. Some of our teachers, there are not district teachers, they work for RCOE. We contract with RCOE on some of the pathways that are harder to find CTE credentialed teachers. So just to give you an example, Donna Woods, who's going to be speaking tonight, is technically an RCOE teacher, but she works at Canyon and gives everything to our students. So just because they might not be district employees technically, I don't want you to think they don't give it their all. But the truth of the matter is some of our CTE teachers are district hired and some we contract through RCOE. So we're working on this overall CTE plan, and we'll be getting that out to you as the school board and cabinet and anyone that wants to see it in the near future. So career technical student organizations. So part of being in a CTE pathway, you have the opportunity to be part of a CTSO, a career and technical student organization. And the purpose of those is to enhance student learning through contextual instruction, leadership, personal development, applied learning, and real world application through these, basically you think of them like a club. And so in California, there are specific CTSOs that you have to partner with. So we partner with Virtual Enterprise, Skills USA, Cyber Patriots, HOSA, which is the Health Occupation Students of America, DECA, which is Distributive Education Clubs of America, FBLA, which is Future Business Leaders of America, Skills USA, and FCCLA, which is Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America. And just to give you an example, the cybersecurity students would be part of Cyber Patriots. Students in the manufacturing pathway go through Skills USA. So just to give you two examples there. And CTSOs are an integral component of CTE curriculum and instruction as they build upon employability and career skills and concepts through the application and engagement of students in hands-on demonstrations and real life and work experiences through the CTE program. They help guide students in developing a career path, programs of study, provide opportunities in gaining skills and abilities necessary to be successful in those careers through the CTSO activities, CTSO programs, competitive events. In addition, students have opportunities to hold leadership positions, attend leadership development conferences, to network with other students in their field, and even more importantly, network with business and industry partners in their field. And so, as you can imagine, that's been a little tough during the pandemic, but one of the ways we've been able to do it is through Zoom and bring guest speakers and field trips, to them, doing like reverse field trips as an example. So CTSOs are an integral part. I wanted to take a pause here and see if anyone has any questions.
Yeah, I do. I would actually, could you maybe back up a little bit, not specifically on your slides, but kind of just express, if I'm a student that's in the district, maybe I'm a freshman coming into high school, right? And I may or may not have an interest in, maybe I'm not interested in going to college per se, but I want to pursue some kind of career that doesn't require a bachelor's degree or master's degree or doctorate or anything of that nature. How does the district identify me? How do I get into how do I navigate through this process? I mean, how do we attract young people to be interested or even know that these pathways exist?
That's a great question, Mr. Peeden. So one of the ways is last year we had a CTE fair for our middle school students. So they had the opportunity to go through Zoom to a whole group session to hear a little bit about what CTE is, and then go into breakout rooms with our CTE teachers for those pathways and explore what those different pathways are. And to give you one example of how that fair was successful, our sports medicine pathway at Valley View more than doubled this year based upon interest from students after attending the CTE fair. Also, our counselors provide that information to students on the pathways that we offer. As a district, we also use CCGI, which is a program that allows students to do some career exploration. And as students take different career inventories and interest scales, then their counselors are able to kind of tell them about some of the pathways that we have. And I'm going to mention this when we get to elementary towards the end of this presentation, but there's also some platforms that really are at elementary level to help students start exploring career aspirations as early as kindergarten. And so then we make sure that we let students know the different pathways that are offered. And then students are able to get enrolled in those. Most of our pathways don't start till 10th or 11th grade, which also gives the high schools the opportunity to recruit their freshmen into different pathways that might be of interest to them as well.
Thank you, Mr. Black. I do have one more question, and something that I was just thinking about as I'm going through all of the manuals and guides regarding the CTE that we have in the district, and also following your slides. Do you know offhand, or has there been any thought given to, different categories of CTE? I mean, we have pathways that are, it looks like to me, based on the presentation, that pathways that still would require some type of advanced or undergraduate degree. But how many programs are we actually focusing on in pathways that don't require that, where a student can go in and graduate high school and go right into a career without any of those degrees?
All of our pathways allow students to go into career or college based upon their desire. So even if we think about culinary arts as an example, it's a brand new pathway this year, but students could go right into the career field with that. Might not be an executive chef doing that, but could go into different careers in that pathway without college. That's true for all of our pathways. It kind of depends upon what exact career that student wants. But they're all designed to allow a student to go directly into the career field or attend college to get more education either in that field or another field.
So these pathways accomplish both of those, just depending on
Yes.
what the desire of the student is.
Correct.
Thank you, sir, for that clarification. That's all I have. Board, is there any other questions?
All right, I'm gonna move forward. So Mikhail Kalashnikov, who's an inventor and engineer, says this: I had to gain experience as I did not have a technical education. And so one of the ways that we help students get that experience is through industry certifications. Industry recognized certifications are part of our pathways. They provide students with the opportunity to earn these certifications. There's also what are called micro certifications. They're a verification of an individual's knowledge, qualifications, and competence in a specific skill set. These certifications merge traditional academic curriculum with technical skills that are required by business recruiters and businesses themselves. And industry recognized certification is a great way to expand knowledge, skills, increase the workforce, career advancement, and overall post-secondary opportunities. So going back to your question, Mr. Peeden, this is one way that students can go right into the career field with these certifications. And so on the next slide, I have just some examples of the industry certification in our district. This is a small sampling. And so in the culinary arts pathway, for example, you would work towards your food handler's card. That's also true in some of our business pathways. In our emergency response pathway, CPR and first aid certification. In cybersecurity, Python 1, PCEP 30, the DoD Cyber Awareness Challenge certification. In some of our health pathways, there's the National Certified Medical Assistant and Certified Electronic Health Records Specialist. And then with regards to our engineering, the MakerBot 3D printing certification, MasterCam, Dr. Richard Radcliffe, who's our manufacturing teacher, is going to be speaking in just a minute. That's part of his pathway. And then the guard card for public safety at Moreno Valley High School. Just a small sampling of some of the certifications. And so with that being said, tonight we have Dr. Richard Radcliffe with us. He's a teacher at Vista del Lago High School. He teaches in the manufacturing pathway. So Dr. Radcliffe?
Before we move on, can I ask a question quick?
Absolutely, Mr. Holguin.
Thank you. I'm just curious. You mentioned the certifications, and for all these examples, there's the National Certified Medical Assistant and on and on. But I'm curious as to who certifies this. I know the district provides instruction and we certified, the board probably certifies that, but who else? What other agency so that it becomes at the national level certified medical assistant?
Yeah, that's a complicated question because it depends on the certification. It might be the county. So the food handler's certification, that's through the county of Riverside. Some of these certifications are through the CTSOs, the Career Technical Student Organizations. Some of them are through the state of California. So there's a lot of different people who do those certifications. The Department of Defense certification is through the Department of Defense. So there is no one entity, it's a multitude of entities. And Dr. Radcliffe's going to talk a little bit more about that when he speaks to his program specifically. But yes, it's not the district certifying them. There's a lot of different organizations that back these certifications.
So is it not the California Department of Education or the United States Department of Education?
No, it's not typically through them. All right, Dr. Radcliffe.
Sorry, Mr. Radcliffe. It was a little popcorn here. If you don't mind, if I could just jump in 1 second. And I just wanted to bring it up before I forget, because one of the interests that I had to hear this study session today and all the information regarding CTE was my interest on seeing how we're building out our building trades and construction industry pathway. And I know based on what you just mentioned that we're still working on that and that's still in development. I am interested in learning a little bit more if you have the time. I mean, I don't know if you're prepared. If not, that's okay. And maybe following up at a later date. Have we reached out to any unions or anybody because they have career connections? They do great apprenticeships. They have curriculum. They have a lot of ways that we can make this happen. And so I'm just interested to know, is that something that you all are interested in or are looking at?
That's absolutely something we're interested in and working on. We were working with the Masonry Union with regards to the construction pathway, but we were not together able to find a teacher for that. Just recently, I went and met with the Southwest Carpenters Union, and we're going to be having some more conversations with them. It looks really promising on possibly finding a teacher through them. But at this time, yeah, we haven't found a successful candidate for that particular pathway. But we are working with the local unions.
Yeah, it's great to hear that you are. And I would imagine as we continue to go through that process that we'll find some success. So thank you for your work on that in that area.
Absolutely. Thank you for the question.
I have a question. Do we have to join the unions or do they just volunteer their support for us?
Yeah, we would not be joining the union. They would be partnering with us. If we ended up, let's say, for example, with the Southwest Carpenters Union, if we were able to find a teacher through them, that teacher would end up getting hired by us to be a teacher in the district. So they'd be an employee of the district at that point.
Okay, thank you.
And even if we don't end up finding a teacher through them, there's other ways we're going to partner with them. Guest speakers, mentorships, those kinds of things. So while finding a teacher through them would be great, there's all sorts of benefits to partnering with, well, those local unions.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. All right, hearing no other questions, Dr. Radcliffe.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to come and present this evening. Mr. Peeden, you raised a question a little while ago that I wanted to just give a little of my personal experience with. Some of the people in the audience may know that in addition to my work in manufacturing, I also am an ASC certified master technician and have a commercial driver's license. And so as I work with my students, I try to explain to them that the skills that they're learning now may not be their life's career, but it may be the thing that helps them get to that next stage of their life or helps them get there more easily. So we are having to work with students that need everything. I need a job as soon as I graduate from high school. I'm going to go to community college and I need a job while I go to community college to increase my skill level, or I'm going to go to university. And so I'll use manufacturing as our example of that. Students graduating from my program, you can see on my slide behind me, we're working with the Smart Automation Certification Association, and that really is designed to help our students prepare for jobs in our logistics industry, which is a huge industry in Moreno Valley, because, and I'll just give you an example, Sam's Club is advertising for entry-level maintenance technicians at $25 an hour plus benefits to start. And that's what I'm hearing from, that there's more jobs than they could possibly find people for. I just found out through another connection, Target is in the process of building a huge distribution facility right on the other side of the 215. From what I understand, they're going to need 30 automation technicians for that facility. They don't have any idea where they're going to find them. So there's a lot of opportunity, but my students may not be their ultimate career desire. A lot of my students express interest in public service and police or fire department. If they want to go into the police department, they have 3 years before they can become police officers. So why not go and work there for 3 years, develop those skills, have a good solid wage, and then when they're ready to go in the police department, they can do that. Not necessarily related career fields, but that opens the door and gives them that good, valuable experience. And we know that a lot of our people, have a second career, or they do work on the side, that kind of thing. And this really gives them that opportunity to do that. So I just wanted to kind of put that example out there as our students may not continue on in the career field that they participate in high school as a primary employment, but it might be a secondary employment, or it might be something that helps them achieve that next level that they're looking to get into. And then Mr. Hogan, you were talking about certifications. Really the important thing that we need to look at is what is recognized by the industry. Some things are recognized because they're required by law, food handler certification, nursing licenses, those kinds of things required by law. Other things like the ASE certification in automotive, that is an industry group that gets together and provides guidance to ASE for automotive technician certification. And so because the industry has gotten together to develop the standards, then the industry is recognizing those standards. So really, as we look at those certifications, the important thing is, does industry recognize those standards? And then those are the ones that we're gonna want to work with. So I'm really fortunate in the manufacturing area. There are a number of different certifications available. We are very fortunate. We have a great variety of things. So we have Haas CNC machines in our classroom. So we're able to work with the Haas Corporation. Haas is a major CNC machine manufacturer, especially in Southern California. Their headquarters is in Ventura. And so many of our shops in the area use their machinery. So students becoming proficient with our CNC machines, earning that certification, able to find good employment. FANUC is another one of our machine systems. We're working right now to become a FANUC cert school, which means that we've been certified by FANUC as having the right curriculum in place to prepare high quality FANUC CNC operator technicians and FANUC robotic technicians as well. And FANUC CNC is 60% of the CNC controls market worldwide. So there's a very good possibility students would leave here and go into a shop that has FANUC machines as well. My understanding is that Amazon has signed a major contract with FANUC for robotics. And so my understanding is that Beaumont, the new facility that just opened in Beaumont, basically the top floor is full of FANUC robots. So our students earning that FANUC certification in robotics here are going to be able to be immediately marketed to Amazon and all of the other companies that through the course of COVID have determined, we really need to look more at automation because our human resource may not be as reliable as we once thought it was. So all of those certifications are going to help our students. I want to talk about SACA for just a minute. I'm a kind of a big evangelist for SACA. SACA is doing something I think that's really smart. They have kind of an overarching associate level 1, associate level 2, which is kind of a broad certification that helps our manufacturing and logistics partners know that students have a wide range of understanding, hazardous materials, print reading, electrical, hydraulics, all kinds of things that we would see in the manufacturing logistics environment. But then the other thing that they've done is they've done these micro certs, and they allow students. So for instance, in my class, maybe a student, for some reason, my understanding is that we have kind of a transient group of students. And so they're not necessarily with us for all 4 years of their high school career. So a student might be here for a limited time, but over the course of a short period of time, 3 to 4 weeks, they may be able to earn a certification just in AC/DC electrical, or just in fluid power, or just in electrical controls, or any number of areas that we're able to offer that. And so that gives them something especially if a student is not staying in one place for a long time, that might be an indicator that student's going to need employment straight out of high school, and maybe isn't looking directly at a college or a university. So that gives them something to put in that application packet and show, look, I've really achieved this certification, and I've put the effort in to learn the information, and it gives them something to stand out against all the other applicants that might be coming in for that position, or allow them to go into a facility and say, hey, you really should put me in the maintenance department and not just, in the order picking or order packing department, if we talk about logistics in Moreno Valley. So that's what really we're trying to do, is how do you set yourself apart? What do you have that can actually be of value to those employers? And a lot of times it's the time that the student followed through and actually achieved the goal, and now they have something to show for it. So whether we're talking about 3D printing through Mastercam, or CNC Pathways through Mastercam, 3D printing through MakerBot, any of our machine tools in here, and then obviously all of our industrial standards. And that's just in one specific area for manufacturing. And all of our CTE pathways are going to have similar situations where the certifications are available for them.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Dr. Radcliffe. So Hillary Clinton says, I feel strongly that we have to have an education system that starts with preschool and goes through college. That's why I want more technical education in high schools and in community colleges, real apprenticeships to prepare young people for the jobs of the future. And one of the ways that CTE prepares our students is through work-based learning. And so work-based learning is this real-world experience that students have through the networking that they're able to do in the pathway, through the career technical student organizations, etc. So work-based learning incorporates internships, mock interviews, job shadowing, workplace tours, guest speakers, career mentoring, service learning, college and career fairs, career interest assessments, integrated projects within the pathways, student-run enterprises like Ms. Garcia-Cortez mentioned at Bayside Community Day School, career technical student organization projects, community service, work experience, and vocational training. And so work-based learning is a big part of our career technical education pathways. And if you look at the top left photo, that's one of our students from Moreno Valley High School who painted those murals, created those murals that are part of the Performing Arts Center at Moreno Valley High School. That's an example of work-based learning. He was in our graphic design pathway. So just one example of a particular student in the district. And so I mentioned earlier that we have 2 advisory meetings a year. That's the district level advisory meetings where we all come together, our industry partners, students, parents, etc. Our first one for this year is November 4th at 5 p.m. through Zoom. And if you were interested in attending that, you'd be more than welcome to come. I could get you the Zoom information and all that. But that's where our CTE teachers, parents, students, industry partners, post-secondary partners like Moreno Valley College, for example, will come. And really it gives the teachers and the students in the pathways an opportunity to ask questions of those that are currently in the industry. That's how our CTE teachers can make decisions on topics they're going to teach, certifications they need to be giving students the opportunity to earn, different work-based learning things. That's the importance of those advisory meetings. So again, our first one will be in November on the 4th at 5 p.m. and it will be through Zoom. And then funding, in addition to general fund and LCAP funding that may go towards CTE, there's several grants. And at the federal level, it's the Perkins grant that started in 2006. This most recent year, we were awarded $298,522. Last year for the CTE Innovation Grant, known as CTIG, we were awarded $561,271. I mentioned on a previous slide that this year we've applied for about 1.4 million, but we won't hear till January how much we were actually awarded. This year, between all of our California Partnership Academies, we were awarded $379,522. That's about $80,000 per academy. And then in the most recent round of Strong Workforce Program grant, we were awarded $385,560. So that's where we're at right now. So within the last 3 years, that's an increase of about 1.6 million in CTE funding that was not in our district prior. So this is a good point for me to stop and see if there's any questions from the board.
Black, I do have a question, and I'm sorry I didn't ask it earlier, but when Mr. Ratcliffe was just speaking, I meant to ask him, but the thought just left my mind. So you mentioned that you have a CDL, or I'm just wondering, do you talk with your students about that? Do they have any interest in going in that career pathway, or is that just something you just shared with us about yourself?
Mr. Johnson, I'm sorry, I haven't had a chance to talk to them about that yet. It hasn't really been part of our discussion. But you might be interested to know that I'm actually adjunct faculty for Victor Valley College, helping them get a CDL program started. So yes, it's definitely part of the conversation, and we definitely talk about the high level of demand for commercial drivers in our area.
Okay, I'm not advocating going. I'm just wondering, since you mentioned you had a license, I thought, wait a minute, I wonder if he's talking with his students about it. I thought maybe they were asking you questions about it. That's all I wanted. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Manmohan Singh, who is an economist and academic, said, so outside agriculture, in manufacturing and services, we must create a lot more jobs. But that also means that we must ensure that our systems of general education and technical education are in line with the job requirements that a more modern manufacturing and a more modern services sector would require. And this leads into our short discussion on CTE construction. And so at Moreno Valley High School, we have the Performing Arts Center, which is almost completed, and that pathway is for technical theater. This top left picture is welding. There's a lot of construction happening in the welding classroom. And then the bottom left is a rendering for the culinary arts classroom that is currently under construction at Moreno Valley High School as well. At Vista del Lago High School, in the near future, they'll be starting on the public health building. And so that will be for the various health pathways that we have at Vista del Lago. At March Mountain High School, I mentioned next year we'll have cosmetology, and construction is getting underway there, revamping 2 classrooms, one into a salon and one into a practice classroom for cosmetology. And then at Canyon Springs High School, the Cyber Innovation Center is currently under construction. And tonight I have Donna Woods, the teacher there, and Jaden Wood, a student there, and Yonette Wood, a parent from Canyon Springs, who are going to briefly tell us a little bit about the cybersecurity pathway at Canyon Springs High School.
Thank you, Mr. Black, and good evening, Dr. Kidziora and school board members. So great to see all of you here, and I'm so grateful to have Mrs. Wood and Jaden Wood, both a parent and our student within our program this year. As you've heard from the other CTE teachers, we have an incredible program in what we offer our students because the district has been so forward thinking in offering all of these advanced CTE programs. Our program, the reason of its expansion and the reason for applying for the grants is that there's a 38% labor market demand right now in our nation. Currently in our nation, there's over 600,000 jobs we cannot fulfill in ICT and cyber. In California, over 60,000 jobs. And just in the Inland Empire, that equates to 1,879 jobs that they're looking to fulfill today. So students that go through our pathway, it's critical that they do earn those industry certifications and advanced certifications. And as Mr. Radcliffe stated, it's important because these industry certifications come from the industry themselves. So to answer Mr. Hogan's question, these aren't initiated by the state, they're industry specific, where the students have to master those industry standards. So for example, beyond the Department of Defense that our students have to earn every year, they also go to earn their CompTIA, IT Fundamentals Plus certification, Security Plus, Network Plus. Those are the advanced certifications. They can also get Cisco certified. So our students at each level, we expect them, whether they're in the introduction classes or all the way to the advanced courses of the pathway, from the concentrators to the capstones, they are earning industry certifications. Therefore, the goal is when the students complete the pathway, they have a minimum of 3 industry certifications and 12 to 18 college units. So then this then addresses Ms. Smith's question. What about the students that may not be going right directly into college? We have students entering into the military or directly into the career field. Because of those industry certifications and the college units that they've been able to obtain, students are entering the career field at $58,000 to $62,000 because of their experience in the program and the units they gained along with the industry certifications. So it's a win-win. Our students going into the military go in at a higher level rank because of the industry certifications and the college units. And our students going directly into college get to bypass at least 6 other courses, whether they're going into a business major or computer science, STEM, or ICT, because of the courses in our pathway. We made sure they were aligned not only to industry standards, but to UC A to G curriculum and then dual enrollment, so that they're articulated with the colleges in our area, as well as advanced colleges at the CSUs and UCs. So students reporting back, we're very excited to say we have a 100% graduation rate in our pathway. We have a 100% certification rate in our pathway, and we have a 100% placement rate, meaning students are either doing that, they're going right into the career, into the military, into the college, and using the tools that we gave them. So it's very custom designed for each student. Base of all our foundation of our curriculum is ethics. And that's what the employers love that they're sharing when they come to our advisory meetings, is that the ethical standards that we put across our curriculum are so critical. They can have students possibly with the hard skills and getting the certifications, but if they can't count on them to keep their word, to show up and to make sure they're not selling trade secrets or like working for Apple or Google, or not giving out privatized information and privatized data, that's critically important. So what the colleges were telling us is that many students would enroll in their majors, this is before we started our pathway, and they couldn't pass the background test because of something unethically they had done either on their social media. So we work with that and our community members to teach cyber hygiene, cyber safety. Part of our community outreach is very important for our students as well, is that we want to make sure they're giving back to the community and that they're paying it forward. So we teach our cyber camps in the summer. We have our parenting university where we're teaching cyber hygiene. We teach teachers in the summertime to how to better that. It doesn't matter what program they teach, English, math, history, science. We want to make sure they're learning about cyber education and digital citizenship, right? And we give them the free curriculum. So not just teachers in our district, but throughout the nation. We serve, that's a different way to serve the community. So we want to engage and equip students constantly, and we love the growth and appreciate the vision that not only our board has had, but our administration and our directors at CTE, as well as our school site administration, because now we have expanded our pathway to 5 different middle schools and 2 high schools, and we're growing substantially. And that's going to help succeed, what we're doing to meet the labor market demands out there. So beyond further ado, I want to introduce to you then Miss Wood, Yvette Wood, and her son Jaden Wood, who are part of our pathway.
Hi. Hello. So I just wanted to get into my experience as a student who is in the cyber pathway. I will build on what Mrs. Woods was saying. It is a very mentally stimulating experience. We are not taught just to go about tech-related things. We are also taught ethics as well as how to essentially complete and do certain things within this pathway. I am planning to do cybersecurity 1, 2, and the dual enrollment for this pathway. And I will say that Mrs. Woods and Mr. Chang, the cybersecurity teachers there, have been very helpful in teaching the students ethics as well as the main source of cybersecurity, which is the coding and other coding languages as well. I'm also very excited for the new Cyber Innovation Center that we are currently building at Cane Springs. It'll be just incredibly wonderful to be in there. I think we're going to be in there around the beginning of next year. So that is definitely one thing to look forward to.
Yes. And as a parent, I am just ecstatic that he has found something that he feels passionate about. And I'm learning a lot by listening to this Zoom and information I didn't know. And I don't know if a lot of you remember back in the 70s, there was a program called the ROP program, Regional Occupational Program. And this feels like that on steroids. I mean, this is amazing. And I am so excited to be part of this committee so I could help and, do whatever I can to assist Mrs. Woods. And so thank you for inviting us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Wood. Thank you, Jaden. It is absolutely a pleasure to have students like this in our pathway. We are so excited. Jaden is part of one of the middle school programs, and he also attended the summer cyber camp. So that's how he found out about the high school pathway. So thank you again for being here tonight and sharing your experiences, your testimony. We appreciate you guys very much. And if there's any questions, I'll be happy to address those.
Well, I mean, I just wanted, on behalf of the board, just thank you, Jaden, for showing up today and giving your testimony. It really means a lot to us. It means a lot to our community. It definitely helps us to make decisions. You're an inspiration, so just keep being a great role model for your peers. Appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Any other questions? Well, thank you. Thank you for having us tonight. We'll continue on. Thank you, Mr. Black.
Thank you, Mrs. Woods. I would echo what Mr. Peeden said. Thank you to you and to the Wood family. Much appreciated that you gave some time tonight. As Mrs. Woods was speaking, she reminds us that CTE is not just for high school students. At the high school level is where you take the official pathway classes, but you can start getting involved in CTE programs in middle and elementary school. So just some examples of career technical education at middle school in our district. I mentioned the CTE fair we had last year where the students in middle school had an opportunity to learn about all the pathways we have. As Mrs. Wood said, several of our middle schools have a Cyber Patriots Club at their campus, and they participate in Cyber Patriot activities. At Mountain View Middle School, we have digital media arts, which then feeds into the videography pathway at Valley View High School. And the digital media arts class is taught by a CTE credentialed teacher, Mr. Garrett. And so we're able to fund it through some of that CTE grant funding. We also have esports in our district, which is an up and coming thing in the world of CTE. So esports, the easiest way to think about it is this. When you think of your kid or your grandkid playing Super Mario or Nintendo, esports is everything that goes into that. So who designed that game? Who did the graphics for that game? Who markets that game? Who sells that game, etc. That's what esports is about. So a lot of the middle schools in our district have clubs and teams related to esports. We've been purchasing, some of the middle schools have been purchasing some robotics equipment to get kids thinking about that. This past summer, we had a couple of summer boot camps at Vista del Lago High School, for example. We had an engineering boot camp and a health academy boot camp. And virtually, we had a cyber security boot camp. And then we also partner with the Girl Scouts of San Gregorio, who provide some guest speakers in these different industries for middle school students, particularly girls, to hear about. And then at the elementary level, that would include field trips, guest speakers, career days, visits from high schools. And then I mentioned the career exploration software that we're piloting right now, Zello and Everfi. So as young as kindergarten, we want them to start thinking about possible careers. And that leads me back to goal 2 and 3, which we started with. We want to make sure that every student in our district is college and career ready, depending upon the pathway they're going to choose past high school. And we want to make sure that we're giving equitable opportunities to every student. So depending upon what their interest is, the goal is to have a pathway at one of our high schools that they could attend. All of our CTE classes are A to G, so it helps with our A to G course completion rate. And I'm working with the school site administration at the different high schools to make sure we're building pathways and putting them at places in the master schedule so that as many students as possible can take those pathways. This helps our graduation rate. And studies show that students in CTE are more likely to graduate from high school. And it also helps our district with the CCI, the College Career Indicator metric. As students complete a pathway with a C- or better, then they're considered prepared for college. It's one of the ways that we show college career readiness. And I wanted to end real quick with an email from Miss Maggie Robles. Ms. Robles is a teacher at Vista del Lago High School in our emergency response pathway. And she sent me this email last week. She says, "Good morning, administrators and directors. I am very proud to announce that one of our former EMT interns and class of 2018 graduates, Eric Dixon, has completed paramedic school at Moreno Valley College, Ben Clark Training Center. Eric Dixon was officially signed off by his CAL FIRE paramedic preceptor last week. Eric must now take the National Registry of EMT's paramedic exam, and he will then be fully licensed as a paramedic. It makes this old paramedic and teacher very happy to see our former students progressing in their careers and completing the emergency response pathway. I have attached some pictures that Eric sent me from his last day as he was signed off and from certain activities from paramedic school. I thank you for your time." So our teachers are very excited to help our students move forward with their different pathways. One last example is a former student, Efren Zamero, who attended Valley View High School. He graduated at the very beginnings of the pandemic. And he took the momentum that he had from his cybersecurity. He was in the cybersecurity pathway at Valley View High School. He built on the certificates that he had earned there. And he went on to Western Governors University, and he graduated in 4 months. Western Governors University is an online university where you can accelerate based upon your skill level and where you're at. And he finished his bachelor's degree in 4 months, graduated in December 2020, and is now working at a leading cybersecurity firm called CrowdStrike. So 2 specific examples of students from our district moving forward in their CTE pathways, being college and career ready, and ensuring equitable opportunities for every student. So that concludes my presentation, unless you have any additional questions.
Don't have any questions, board? Do we have any questions?
No, not from me.
Mr. Black, if I may add to what you said about Efren, he's also going to be a national keynote speaker at the NICE K-12 conference this year because of his great success and our pathway, which we presented at the conference the last 3 years. So they're excited to have him as a keynote speaker there, sharing his story and sharing about our pathway. So we're excited what our students are doing. And just to mention, his starting salary at CrowdStrike for what he does, which is a system security analyst, he started at $89,000 and he's living in San Antonio, Texas.
Ms. Woods, how do I sign up for that program?
Right. You
Well,
are doing
yeah, clearly. Thank you very much, everyone, and Mr. Black, for your presentation. You really helped to set a foundation to help, really with our understanding as the Board of Education and what's going on in our district as it relates to CTE. So we thank you for your effort and everything that you're contributing to the school district as well as our students. Before we take a 5-minute break, we'll pause to make sure our board doesn't have anything to add or any questions. And then, of course, if Dr. Kiziora had anything to add, and then we'll take a 5-minute. Mr. Holguin?
Yes, thank you. First of all, thank you, Mr. Black, and thank you to all the speakers, including our student. I think this was a very informative presentation, and I appreciate all the detail. I was putting together some questions and from the beginning of the presentation, and as we were moving along, the questions were answered. So I just want to make a couple of comments here. One of them is regarding the A to G requirements or A to G completion. And one of your last statements there, Mr. Black, was that all these courses meet the A to G requirements, right?
For elective classes, yes, the A to G elective requirement.
Yes. So I think I believe that's very important because at some point in time, the students may switch from being on a career technical education course to going to a community college or a university. So I think that is important, and that opens the doors for the students to go different ways. And speaking about different ways, this is again another example of the district opening doors, providing more opportunities for our students to have different ways to go after high school. So truly being prepared for whatever comes after, and having that option for all of them, I think it is important. I appreciate you explaining how you present these opportunities to the students and let them know what is available in the district. I was interested to hear the comment from the parent that when she said that there was a lot of information that she didn't know. I think it is important. Dr. Kiziora is master in providing information to the community in many different areas, and I think that this is an area that I'm sure Dr. Kiziora is thinking about continuing providing this information to the community, to the students, and through the different activities that happen in the middle school and in high school, so that students know all these opportunities are available for them. And so I'm also glad to see that you're covering 10 out of 15 industry sectors. I think that is remarkable. I don't know if that comparing to other school districts, if other school districts have that many or not, and I'm not really interested in knowing that, but I think that is a great number. And I applaud the district because it takes a lot of effort beyond the academics, the academics and all the activities that happen in the district to have these many options, to have 26 pathways, and thinking about adding one more, I think it is remarkable. So thank you for the explanation about the certification, and thank you, Mr. Radcliffe, also for helping me understand that. And because I was, one of the things that I was in my mind, I was thinking, how do we make sure that all these classes and all these pathways are certified by somebody, right? So that what they do, what the students do is valid, and they don't go out to the high school and then they hit the wall by somebody telling them, no, this is not good. Well, it's certified. So that's a good thing to know. So I think this is great, a great presentation. I learned a lot this evening, and I am looking forward to having the opportunity to attend the advisory meeting on November the 4th. So thank you. And it's good to keep an eye on all the grants and all the funding that is coming from the state for this particular purpose, because the more we take the advantage of the funding for the opportunities, not because the district is in the business of making money, but providing opportunities for the students. And I think that is important to understand too. We get the money so that we can use the money for opening doors for students. So thank you so much for the presentation.
Mr. Holguin, if I might, one of the things I forgot to mention is that in 2005, there were 13 pathways in Moreno Valley Unified School District, and now there's 26. So we've doubled the pathways in the last 10 to 15 years. And as you mentioned, now we have pathways in 10 of those 15 sectors. And yeah, that's not common. Some other big districts might be able to do that, but in smaller districts, they definitely don't have that many different pathways and opportunities for students. So thank you for that point, Mr. Holguin.
That is commendable. So I applaud that effort from the school district. Thanks so much.
Can I have a quick word?
Absolutely, Mr. Johnson.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. First of all, I want to tell Mr. John Black, man, you did a wonderful job. You know, I was just, listening to you and watching you, and I'm thinking just not too long ago, you were at the school, running a school, doing a great job, and now you're here and doing this, and I really enjoyed hearing your guest speakers. All you guys did a wonderful job, and Ms. Ratcliffe, man, you just have a wealth of talent, gee whiz. So if our kids getting everything that's in your head, man, we're going to have a whole bunch of smart kids out there that's doing a lot of great work for our area and in fact our whole country. So thank you so much. And I see Donald there laughing. Man, every time she says anything, it's always very, very valuable and genuine, and she's very good. So Donna, thank you for your presentation, and everybody else too as well. And I want to purposely stop and say something to Mr. Wood. I'm kind of jealous, man. Don't ever come on this thing again looking like you're doing. I used to want one so bad. I never was able to get it. So your fro is wonderful. It's great. She loves it too. Well, I tell you what, I'm surprised they're coming back, but man, you really look good. But thank you for your presentation as well. We appreciate that as well, okay? But I had to say something about your fro, man. Thank you.
I'd just like to say a few words quickly, and thank you also, Mr. Black, for your great presentation. I didn't realize exactly how many CTE pathways we had in the district. So for me, it was just great to see that. And it looks like we're getting new ones all the time. I just love that students are getting training, whether or not they're going to go directly into a career from high school or go on to college. It gives them that background training. So, and we heard from that one student and what great advantage he had taken getting some certifications in high school, then going on and being able to quickly get his college degree and move ahead to a career. And whether they do that or whether they go on to college for a full 4 years for training in their chosen career, I think it's just great that we have these opportunities for students to start identifying what they're interested in doing at a long-term basis. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Smith. And Dr. Kidziora, do you have anything to add before we take our 5 minutes to quick stretch break?
Mr. Peeden, if I didn't say this, people would get upset. But I just want to thank y'all for supporting the recommendation to hire John Black in this position. As you can see by what you've heard tonight, there's so much that can be done and is going to be done through his leadership and through what he is able to help people with. But he's got some great people working with him. Donna Woods, Dr. Radcliffe, and I do want to say to Yvonne Corbett Wood and her son Jaden, I don't know why they didn't say hi to me on here. I know them personally, and I can't believe that they got chosen to be here tonight, but you couldn't have picked a better family. And are they still there, Miss Donna Woods?
Yes, we're here.
Okay, I texted you already, but yeah. But I just want to thank y'all. I was so proud of your son, and I'm so proud of you. And thank you for what you contribute to our community. We're very fortunate to have you in our community and your family. You always connect people, and you're always engaged and supportive. And I didn't tell John to get you or anything, but when I saw you appear, I was just grateful. So thank you for what you did. And Miss Garcia Cortez, of course, you know, I love your daughters like they're my own, but anyway, we'll get into all that. But thank you so much. I mean, amazing people that work in this. And when Mr. Peeden says, where do I sign up? That's what we want every kid in the district to say. So, and you know, it's just a wonderful opportunity. So thank you, Mr. Peeden.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Dr. Kidziora. We'll take a quick 5-minute break. We'll return at 6:30 for our updates on facility projects. Thank you very much. Everybody here? Claudia, we're good? We'll come back to session at 6:31. And I will give it over to Miss Maddox if she can introduce, or I guess Miss Lopez, I'm sorry. Where's Miss Lopez? There.
Thank you.
If you can
Mr.
introduce the
President.
next speakers, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Peeden. This evening, I'm very excited that our facilities team will be providing this facilities update to the board. A lot has changed since the last facilities update was presented a couple of years ago. We have an amazing facilities team, and this evening they're going to be walking you through this presentation. At this time, it is now my pleasure to introduce you to our Director of Facilities, Samer Al-Zubaidi. Samer, take it over.
You're muted, Samer.
Sorry. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. Peeden, Board President, respected board members, Superintendent Kidziora, Cabinet, and community. Thank you so much for having us. We are so excited to be here today with you. And
Samer, can I jump in? I'm sorry, but the screen is being shared. It's not a full window. Is that my end maybe? Is everybody else okay? Or is it just me?
Is it full window now?
Well, my screen is like this, but it may just be on my end.
No. It's that way on mine too.
Sorry, 1 second. It is full window?
No, it might be a different setting on your presentation.
Apologies.
It's the same, but I mean, I guess we might be fine if everybody else doesn't have an issue with it. I don't think.
Yeah, we can still see it, I think.
Yeah, we can still see it, so we don't need to hold it up.
It's not full window now?
No, it's the same, but we can still see it, so we're okay.
I do apologize for that. Yeah, my name is Samer Al-Zubaidi, and I'm the Director of Facilities at Moreno Valley Unified School District. And let me start introducing my team. I am so honored and humbled to work with a team of esteemed individuals at the Facilities Department who does great work and collaborate all day long. And if we start with the ladies first introduction, I'll start with Amy Escobar, the administrative assistant to the chief, who's also helping the department with collecting developer fees and CFDs. Also, we have Stephanie Alexander, who's working on the finances for the department, and she is producing a huge volume of work, following up with all the payment applications, all the requisitions, all the purchase orders for the department, with millions of dollars. And then we have Rosalie Martinez, Secretary 3 for the department, who's keeping everyone in check, coordinating all meetings, communicating with all parties, and making sure everything is in place. I have the 3 planners in the department who are the chefs. They are cooking every day from start of the day until the end of the day. They are managing all these projects and the improvements that I'm going to go through. And myself is, you can call me the help, who's helping everyone here in this team basically with everything they need. Let me start basically shedding some light about the 11 commitments and marry it and tie it to the life of facilities and why we do what we do. Well, let's just start with why we do what we do at Facilities Department and tying that to the district's mission. So the Facilities Department strive to provide a student learning environment that covers our school district mission by taking equitable approach to our facilities improvements, emphasizing design standards, safety, efficiency, and maintainability. We like for our school facilities to support our students, parents, teachers, and staff in closing achievement gaps and preparing students for the workforce, college and career transformation, and CTE initiatives. Our school facilities actually are considered learner-centered, safe, sustainable, and centers of the community. Before we jump into the projects, let me introduce you to the main sources of funds that funds each facilities department at any school district. And the major sources of funds are the state grant, which is, passed by the citizens. It's put on the ballot by the state and passed by the citizens of California when they do elections in the even years. And that's one of the major sources of funds. The biggest source of fund for facilities department here at Moreno Valley Unified School District is the general obligation bond, or the Measure M bond. I'm gonna be showing you the percentages of those, but this is the generous contribution from the community when they passed a general obligation bond here in Moreno Valley, or what we call Measure M, back in 2014 for the total of $398 million. And we also have the collection of developer fees and CFDs, community facilities districts bonds, when the developers building new homes and communities here in the city of Moreno Valley. And the last but not least source of fund is the local type of funds, the redevelopment agency funds, and so on and so forth.
Sammer, can I just stop you for a second? Can we have Claudia share her screen? Because I know you have a lot of great pictures to share, and we just want to make sure people are able to see that. So we'll have Claudia share the presentation, and then you can just, let her know when to proceed to the next slide.
Wonderful. I'm sorry for that.
Thank you for that. I apologize.
Technical view. All right, thank you so much. Oh. There you go. Yep. Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, so our sources of funds that I explained, these are the percentages here at Moreno Valley Unified School District since 2012. These are the percentages of these funds that Measure M. 50% developer fee revenues, about 27%, state grants, about 2%, the community facilities bonds, 8%, and local revenues, 13%. So next slide, please. Our agenda for today that I'm going to cover basically starts with the completed projects, active projects. Under the completed projects, we will talk about categories, about 8 categories. About for the active projects, I'm going to go over all the active projects that we have, and our team that are with me right now, John Nichols and Jorge Alvarado, will help me cover some of the active projects that they are managing. And I wanted to give them special thanks for their diligent work and dedication for this program. So next slide, please. After the active projects, we're going to talk about future projects. Then I'm going to address facilities master plan and acknowledgements. After that, we conclude our presentation. Next slide, please. For the completed projects, next slide, please. We will start with the Canyon Springs Athletic Stadium complex. We did, a huge improvement at that time when we constructed a brand new stadium. There was no stadium there, so we constructed brand new athletic complex at Canyon Springs High School by putting a brand new field with artificial grass and synthetic track around it. And as you can see, different types of lines, yellow and white, so that field could be used for football and soccer at the same time. We have some buildings around it. I don't know if you can see my mouse or not, but the buildings around it is for concession stands, kitchen, team room. We have a ticket booth outside. We created new tennis courts in the campus. We put new parking lot. We have new bleachers on both sides, home and visitor. So as you can see, the project total cost and the completed time for that project. Next slide, please. After we finished Canyon Springs High School, we directed our attention to replace all the grass and tracks at the other comprehensive high schools with artificial grass and synthetic field track and the D zones as well, high jump and long jump structures. And that's what we started with Valley View High School. That's the picture of Valley View High School, and you see the information there. Next slide, please. And then we went to Vista del Lago High School, and we did the same thing with the artificial grass and synthetic track. Next slide, please. And then finally, with Moreno Valley High School, synthetic track and artificial grass, we did for Moreno Valley. That was so with that, all four comprehensive high schools have the Century 21, artificial grass, football field, and synthetic track surfacing with these zones, new pole vault, high jump, and long jump structures. Next slide, please. So the second category is the energy. And with that category, what we did is we competitively bid the solar services or the installation of solar panels at 15 sites here, and they are ranging from middle, high, elementary, and the sequential orders based on the completion level in front of you. And basically we did we converted these sites into energy efficient sites by saving a lot of money with the addition of these solar panels, and they provided shade for the parking lot for the staff and the community. We also had shade structures put inside some of the elementary schools to be utilized under the play area or the lunch areas for those sites. Next slide, please. Another slide of the energy project. We utilized the Proposition 39, which was a grant by the state at that time, and it went on 3 phases, and the total value was about 5.3 million. We utilized it in changing a lot of air conditioning at some of the school sites that you see the list in front of you. We installed the new LED lighting and a new energy management system and lighting sensors at these campuses. Next slide, please. Other energy category, which is the Paris Operations Center. We consolidated all the electric meters that were scattered everywhere, and we consolidated them into one location that provided the center location for the entire Paris Operations Center and provided some future capability to the transportation's future addition of electric chargers for their buses. So that took care of the infrastructure right there, and they don't need to worry about it because we provided that as part of this project. This project also, since we were doing that, we allowed the solar panels to take place in new parking stalls. We extended the parking area by adding 69 parking stalls to the existing parking there and reduce the the parking conflict sometimes that happened in the past. Next slide, please. The other category is safety and security. And in this category, we started with the fencing around majority of the elementary schools. So we have installed chain link fence and ornamental metal fence at 21 elementary schools, excluding Edgemont, because that was a reconstruction and we did it as part of the reconstruction. While Armada, we did it as part of the emergency repair program that we had done there at Armada. So with that, all 23 sites were covered with fence that is high fence and more safe and secure for our students and staff and community. Next slide, please. Another safety and security feature, we installed what do you call it, vestibule area, and at 5 elementary schools. And the reason why these are chosen because they are all designed by one architect and they have the same layout, same twin school layout for all elementary schools. So it was to take advantage of the economy of scale. We utilize that and install that kind of vestibule area, enhancing the security of our sites by allowing the community to check in with the front office before they get buzzed into the site. Next slide, please. Part of the safety and security and to comply with Title IX as well, we did separated the parents drop off from the bus drop off for a couple of schools so far. We started with Ridgecrest Elementary School, and you can see in the picture a brand new parking lot that provided a parent drop off, but also in the meantime provided additional parking for the staff. So that that parking is now utilized by the staff, and you can see nice and bright LED lighting in the parking lot as well. Next slide, please. This is the same configuration we did for Ridgecrest. We did this for Butterfield by creating a separate zone for bus and parent drop-offs and additional staff and community parking at both campuses, basically, with lighting and all kinds of improvements. Next slide, please. This is a JROTC program at Vista del Lago High School. It is part of the Marine Corps National Defense Cadet Program, and they are so thrilled and have that program. Next slide, please. We helped Head Start by managing their funds. They received some funding from the county, and we helped them put a brand new 36 by 40 feet portable at Sunny Meadows Elementary School to house their program there, in addition to adding a shade structure for the play area there at the Sunny Meadows Elementary School. Next slide, please. We also helped Head Start to put additional 4 shade structures at 4 different elementary schools, the same way we did there at Sunny Meadows. Next slide, please. For the gymnasium category, we started modernizing our gymnasiums. So under the direction of the board and for we added HVAC, which is heating, ventilation, air conditioning for all the gymnasiums. For the gymnasiums at Canyon Springs and Valley View, starting with Canyon Springs. We did Morena Valley before Canyon Springs. So we added Canyon Springs after Morena Valley High School. So this is the second gymnasium that we're improving and modernizing. This is a full modernization. We changed everything here that you can see: flooring, ceiling, and new LED lightings, logos, bleachers, just name it. And we added air conditioning and new ducting. We added new, as you can see, casework for the Hall of Fames and all the beautiful things there. Next slide, please. Same thing we did for Valley View High School. We also did a complete modernization for the gymnasium areas. I forgot to mention for Canyon and here for Valley View, there are on both locations, there are on both sites, there are a bathroom set that serve each one of those gymnasiums that also got modernized. But here in Valley View, there's a new dimension to the project, which was added to the gymnasium, and that was the reconfiguration of the existing parking lot. So we reconfigured the parking lot. It was part of the gymnasium project, and we added 200 additional stalls to that site. They needed it so badly, and they were so thrilled and happy to have that. Next slide, please. At Valley View High School, painting, we transformed the entire campus by doing a complete overall painting. Entire campus, everything that you can see was painted except the existing portables. We painted all the stadium bleachers, the concession stands, the guard shack outside, all the buildings. So it was a complete transformation for the site. The colors are great, and I received a lot of positive comments from the community and the staff about the colors. Thank you. Great. Next slide, please. The classroom buildings, this is Canyon Springs High School, 2-story projects that was completed, And it is a 24 classroom building, 8 of them science labs, is 16 regular classrooms. And it is state-of-the-art, Century 21, with all the amenities, everything. And it has the 360-degree teaching concept whereby you can see the marker boards on all walls around you, and the teaching centers for the labs in the middle, for the stations, and for the regular classrooms. The kids will be thrilled to be collaborating on the teaching walls all around the classrooms. Next slide, please. So that concludes my first item. And before I go to the active projects, I'd like to see if there are any questions regarding the first category or the first agenda item that I covered.
Any questions, board? No questions?
Okay. Should I continue? All right, so let's go through the active projects, and I will ask Mr. Alvarado to start with Canyon Springs High School with active projects. Mr. Alvarado?
Thank you, Summer. The NPR building and the pictures on this slide speak by themselves. It is a single-story building, about 28 feet high, and approximately 22,231 square feet of floor area. Just to give you an idea of how large or big this building is, the NPR portion of the building is able to house approximately 610 people. And there's a cover area outside the building that you can see on the picture below, where you see the bifold doors that are open to the NPR. That area is where they're gonna be having the launch tables, and that should be able to house about 239 people in that area. So those pictures are very recent, and they show you the stage of construction right now. Starting from the north, that's where the kitchen is located. Then going south, that's where the NPR, the pictures to the left, to the right, I'm sorry, shows, and that shows the polished concrete finish. Is very shiny and nice. It has a lot of storefronts, and then it also has the bifold doors. It has like 5 sets of bifold doors, like shown on the picture below. So that tells you how nice this building is gonna look towards the end. The NPR area is also gonna have on the west elevation a state-of-the-art audiovisual system. It's more like a matrix setup. It's gonna have speakers and everything is gonna be set up nice in that area. So it's gonna be able to carry different functions that the district can use this building for. And then moving south, you have the breezeway area for the lunch tables. And then at the very end on the south, that will be the band room where it's gonna be housed. And you can move to the next slide, please. This is the modernization portion of the project or the construction program at Canyon Springs High School. And this is showing building A, which includes about 31 classrooms, regular classrooms, and 2 special day classrooms. It also houses the library and the administration spaces and the circulation desk area where everybody comes through. The upper left picture shows the administration area as it is right now. These are some of the latest pictures taken. And then on the right, it is one of the SDC rooms, as you can see, already occupied. And the bottom picture shows the library area as occupied as well. So the idea here at the end of this construction program at Canyon Springs, the idea is to displace approximately 22 portable classrooms, which will be the last phase of construction, removing these portable classrooms and renovating the hardscape area, putting some new basketball courts and other good things for the school at the end of the project. Next slide, please. This is building B, which is going to be housing 5 science labs and 21 regular classrooms. And the pictures right there are showing some of the demolition activities currently undergoing at that building. they're breaking up the slab to be able to build an infrastructure for the new labs for plumbing and all that. So you can see saw cutting of the slabs and breaking the slabs, as well as all the demolition of the drywall and everything to expose the walls and do all the electrical work. That's what this is showing. Next slide, please.
So I think Moreno Valley High School is next in line, and I'd like to introduce Mr. Nichols to take over Moreno Valley. Mr. Nichols.
Thank you very much, Samer, and excited to be part of this presentation to the board. We're excited to complete the final phase of modernization of the permanent buildings at Moreno Valley High School. Jorge started this project several years ago with the buildings on the west side of the campus, and we've gradually moved our way to the final buildings on the east side of the campus. These include the multi-purpose building that you see here in these photographs. We've added on the kitchen at the multi-purpose expansion to house refrigerator or storage space for that. The multi-purpose will be enhanced by placing all of the niches, all new lighting, new technology, sound systems. In addition to being the cafeteria for the school, it will also become very well appointed professional development area for the district and the school. You see on the lower left, we were able to repurpose several of the spaces on the campus. This is the old band room on the lower left is being converted to a modern dance studio for that. On the right, you see an expanded serving line for the kitchen. All new kitchen facilities at the school, both inside in the scramble area here, as well as outside snack bars that are all new on the facility. So this is building B, the southernmost building on this project that should be completed here within the next month or month and a half. Next slide. The next building C, moving north, is the former home economics classrooms at the school. These were converted to 2 large special education classrooms, including new restroom facilities, as well as all new finishes and technology. You saw the construction slides that Jorge showed at Canyon Springs. These rooms were all gutted down to the studs, and all new finishes and lighting, ceilings, flooring, wall surfaces, everything was replaced. So it's for all intent and purposes a brand new classroom for these special ed students. Next slide. The next 2 buildings, D and E, moving north, housed regular classrooms, flexible science labs, art studios, and 1 additional special education classroom. These spaces were, again, all torn down to the studs, and brand new finishes and technology and lighting and air conditioning placed in these buildings as well. And these are all just recently occupied, start of school this year, and the kids are excited to be in their new spaces. Next slide. Building F is the northernmost building. It houses the team room you see on the upper left, the wrestling room, and various shop facilities, art classrooms. The slide on the bottom is the ceramics lab. Again, all these spaces were repurposed from top to bottom with all new technology and finishes, lighting. 1 additional space in this building that we don't show that Mr. Black did show in his earlier slides is the welding shop, and it's part of Building F, and it should be completed here in another few weeks. We're excited about that program. So this completes the library. We also did total repurposing of the library, all new finishes, technology, lighting, flooring, shelving for the books. We put in a state-of-the-art textbook storage area, very motorized so that they can be very compact and store a lot of books in that area with movable shelving in the workroom. So that's a very enhanced space for the school with all new furniture and equipment as well. Next slide. The final building we enhanced on the campus is the lecture hall. We put, again, all new sound systems. The seating that you see here with the old outdated facility that the school had been working with. So this really gives the site a fantastic teaching area, very flexible teaching area that's very unique to this campus. So with this modernization completion here in the next few months, we'll have all of the permanent buildings, as I said, completed, and we'll be able to, with the board's approval, start on removing as many of the portable buildings on the west end of campus, about 22 of them. We'll consolidate the remaining buildings with some new landscaping and parking, along with some new tennis courts. And that should complete a very comprehensive modernization of Moreno Valley High School by the end of next summer. So we're excited about that. Next slide. A building that we're all looking forward to seeing the completion of is the new Performing Arts Center. This state-of-the-art 50,000 square feet of house seating, the most magnificent stage. You could see it in any facility like this. Wonderful modern classrooms for band and drama and choir, as well as an absolutely amazing scene shop for the students to work on. And then you saw the catwalk area and some of the control areas in Mr. Black's slides earlier for the technical theater program. The students are just going to have an amazing experience, not only taking traditional classes in music and performing arts and those types of classes, but the students taking the technical theater are going to have a true state-of-the-art facility to learn in, and we'll position them to work in any type of facility like this anywhere. So this is an exciting building to see come to completion here in the next couple of months. This project was probably one of the most impacted projects from COVID. We were originally hoping to get this project completed back in March or April, and because of challenges with labor and material issues, we're finally looking to completion on this project sometime in the next month and a half. So I know several of you have a tour of the facility, and we're all excited to see this project, see its first performance. Next slide. I think that might be the last one at Moreno Valley. Oh, yeah, we're excited to see the new culinary arts. The modules just got placed over this last weekend, and that project, the culinary arts facility, should come to fruition sometime around November. So we're excited to see that project as well. The new elementary school began construction a few months ago. We had a great groundbreaking ceremony out there that all of you attended. Since that time, you'll see underground utilities being placed below the building and around the site. There's a big ditch right now for the sewer line that runs in front of the school that will tie into Nason Avenue, but this wonderful 77,000 square foot facility will replace existing Moreno Elementary School, provide space for about 800 transitional kindergarten through 6th grade students, and we're looking forward to its completion toward the end of next year. If there are any questions on Moreno Elementary School or Moreno High School, I'd be happy to answer those.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it. If the board has any, superintendent, board, anyone who has questions about what was, but we still have some slides for this category, so you're welcome to ask now or until we finish this category. Feel free to ask any questions. And I apologize for the quality of flying. John is away from home basically, and out of kindness of his heart, he's just taking time out of his private vacation and be with us on this call actually. So thank you, John, again. I appreciate it. And next slide, please. If there are no questions until we finish, hopefully, if you do, please ask questions. The next active project is the modernization of the existing Moreno Elementary School site. So after the new campus is built, finished, and occupied, we're going to be transforming the old campus by putting some restrooms inside the existing classrooms and preparing that campus to receive Rainbow Springs School, because that will be relocated and utilizing this site, this location. And we're going to be adding a lot of improvements for the classrooms, path of travels. Also, the work includes a staff parking at the back of the school as well. Next slide, please. A great improvement to Sugar Hill Elementary School by adding 2 sets of restrooms. The one in the bottom, which is called Building G, it's right behind the existing restrooms in the playground. And this restroom, the door that you see right facing us is the SDC restroom that will have space, that will have a changing table and space for the Hoyer lift for the SDC kids. Also, it will have a staff restroom on the other end of that building, and in the middle, that door open in the middle, that is a custodial closet. That is Building G. A similar building near the portables is Building H, which is on the upper left picture, and that has the first space is going to be staff / SDC kinder restroom, and then there will be 2 more restrooms next to that, which is male and female for kinder size to serve the kinder area. So we're in construction. We're anticipating to finish these 2 buildings soon. Probably beginning of October, we're going to be opening Building G, and a few more weeks after that, we're going to be opening Building H. Next slide, please. We're helping Head Start again by putting a restroom inside one of the portables at Ridgecrest Elementary School. And that project is underway right now. It's under construction. You can see the portable from outside, and you can see the demo work is going inside, and it's going to be completed in the winter for 2021. Next slide, please. Next project is Valley View High School 2-story. We are so proud of this project. It is bidding right now. Bids will be open in November this year, and we are anticipating a board approval on December 12 of this year, December 14, I'm sorry, this year. And after 2 weeks after the board approval, we may see construction activities starting by mobilizing to the site, fencing off, demolishing the existing asphalt, and preparing the site and all the logistics before kids come back from their break, from their winter break. So they will come to see the construction, fenced off, staging area, everything is done and ready to go. Next slide, please. Another wonderful project, which is the new proposed multipurpose room at Sunnymead Middle School that is going to be along Eucalyptus, and the improvement of the existing space on campus that is facing Heacock to be converting and transforming that into new VAPA. So that school is going to undergo a huge transformation soon. We are in the process of the design and approvals with DSA. The design is completed. We are in the DSA approval, and also communicating with local agencies like EMWD, city, and everything about the utilities. So that is going to have the multipurpose room on the upper left-hand side and lower picture as well. That's the proposed new multipurpose room. And then on the upper right, that's the new VAPA space in the building. Next slide, please. Again, another modernization project at Sunnymead Middle School, which we will be modernizing also for existing buildings. Building A has 2 SDC classrooms, special education classrooms that we will be modernizing inside Building A. Building B and Building C, these are 2 regular classrooms, and Building D is going to be state-of-the-art STEAM building at Sunnymead Middle School. And the middle school, for 2 projects, the one that I just mentioned a few minutes ago, the VAPA and this mod, they were all awarded to a lease back contractor, and we are ready to start beginning of next year. Next up, please. Vista Del Lago High School is going to be very thrilled and happy to see us starting soon with their new HVAC, new air conditioning and ducting, new LED lighting for the gymnasium. So it will be very similar to the air conditioning that we had at other high schools. We received the help from the ESSER funds because the school basically, without the air conditioning, without the proper ventilation, it's going to undergo a huge concern with the pandemic, and we needed to improve and enhance the air conditioning and ventilation in the building. So we applied to CDE and received approval to utilize some of the ESSER funds, which we are striving to utilize some of those funds as well to do more meaningful improvements at other sites that are related to the pandemic. So this is one of the improvements that we received approval for, and we are going to continue working with the Chief Business Officer to submit other projects to that ESSER fund. One of the projects we are targeting is the MOVOA, the Moreno Valley Online Academy. We're trying to do that. I'm going to be covering that as well today. And also, hopefully, maybe one day we could just see some improvements for March Mountain Gymnasium HVAC as well. Next slide, please. Mr. Black did a phenomenal job. He covered the CTE projects, but this is just a list of the active CTE projects that are under construction or Vista, except, Vista Del Lago High School, we didn't start construction yet, but the rest, we started construction. Some of them, like the cosmetology, we just bid that and we are awarding that soon. But the rest all had either started, finished, or in the underway, construction going underway. Next slide, please. That will conclude my active projects agenda item, and I would like to open the stage for board members and to ask any questions they have about that category.
I was just going to ask, I'm glad you mentioned about Marsh Mountain, just some updates on that. We haven't seen too much discussion about Marsh Mountain, so I was just curious about their gym as well. So I'm glad that you mentioned that we may be heading that area soon.
Yes, sir.
Great. Any other? Mr. Johnson?
Yes, I do want to thank Samar for a great presentation. Samar, every time I'm around you, man, you just thrill me, man, with all the great ideas and the things that we're working on. I really appreciate you when from the day you came over here to work in our district, you and your whole entire team. You guys so enthusiastic about your work and the things that you guys do that's going to help us throughout our community. So again, thank you and your team so much for that hard work. I'm very proud of everything that we have so far and for the ideas and the things that we're going to be doing in the future. Make sure you pass on to that. We really appreciate it. You have really helped elevate Moreno Valley Unified School District, and you and your team has done a wonderful job. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Johnson, and we are thrilled to be part of this great team for Moyna Valley under the great supervision and leadership of Dr. Kidziora and the Chief Business Officer, Ms. Lopez. If there are no more questions, I could go to the next category. If you have any questions, please do. All right, next slide, please. So future projects, these list of sites that you see in front of you, all these sites were eligible to receive state funding for the modernization of these sites. So what we did, we competitively bid and awarded architectural contracts to 8 firms. We started the work with those firms. We took them with us to Division of the State Architect, which is the approving authority for the school plans and specifications. We sat down with DSA. We managed those, the process of the design. We walked the sites with each architect and site principal, staff, custodial staff, just name it. And we came up with all kinds of needs, and we categorized it into 3 categories: code and safety, maintenance, and transformational. And based on that, we started the design. We got that design done. The design all approved by DSA and lined up for funding. So they are all waiting to receive state funding. If you all remember, the state tried to pass a state bond back a year ago. It was Prop 13. Unfortunately, it failed. It didn't get any approval, so it failed. And I'm hearing through Cash Organization and all other state officials that there is a possibility of a new state grant in 2022. If that happens, and if the state grant is passed, we have a greater chance and opportunity to receive funding from the state to help us modernize the list of campuses that you see in front of you. It's a huge list, and we are so proud to be lined up to get funding from the state to get those projects going. Next slide, please. Part of the future projects that we're working on, whether they are in design or not yet started, number 1, the Moyna Valley High School Phase 5, as John indicated, we still have some portables there. And once we finish the modernization, we're going to be taking, we have currently 42 portables at Moyna Valley High School. We're going to take 22 out of those portables out, and we're going to be consolidating the other 20 and modernizing that area, making it a nicely looking west side of the campus. We're going to be restoring that west end of the campus to make it a nice parking lot with landscape, hardscape, and fire lane there. We're going to be replacing the existing tennis courts with the new tennis courts, 5, and we're going to add a new court. So we make them 6 tennis courts to be compliant with CIF. Also at Canyon Springs High School, unfortunately, the pool, we discovered that it is leaking, and it was leaking approximately the volume of the entire pool every month. So we had to empty that pool. And you know, so it doesn't affect the surrounding buildings. And we're working on kind of an emergency project there to replace that pool, and trying to come up with ideas, plans, designs, funding, everything to get that pool replaced in the near future. Next slide, please. Also, one of the projects that I mentioned a few minutes ago, Online Academy, we due to the pandemic, we're trying to support all students, especially the online academy, and providing quality education to the students. So we're trying to support the Online Academy by providing good space, classroom space / office space for the teachers to hold their Zoom sessions and live stream to the students. And we're working with the CBO, Ms. Lopez, Chief Business Officer, to apply through CDE to get us allowance to get through the ESSER fund to utilize that and do that kind of project. Other project is Box Springs Elementary School. We have an opportunity to convert one of the spaces into special day class with restrooms accommodations, and that project is designed, got BSA approval, and we're working on the future steps to see if we can be able to bid this project in the near future. Next slide, please. Vista Del Lago High School Special Day class buildings. We're trying to create a cluster of 3 special day classrooms with restroom inside each one of those classrooms and make them next to each other as part of that campus, consolidating those into one area. And the last but not least project is the District Parent Center. So we are in the process of purchasing a new property outside the district's office on Alessandro, and that property is going to be enhanced to basically house the parent center and create a bigger and better parent center to hold more trainings and more meetings for the parents. Next slide, please. The next category is the master plan, and we would like to let you know that the master plan that was done in 2013 created the cornerstone for our Measure M bond, and we are striving, the district plans to update that facilities master plan to reflect all the changes that facilities did and provide access to future state funding and general obligation grants. As we go through this process, we will provide regular updates to the board through the CBO and the superintendent office. Next slide, please. Before we forget to thank the people who, without them, this great improvements would not have happened. And I would like to extend thanks on behalf of my team and behalf of the district to the team that worked tirelessly with the facilities department, comprising of the designers, the architect firms who worked with us, the construction firms who helped us manage the projects on site, and then finally the list, the esteemed individuals, the Citizens Bonds Oversight Committee, who is helping us and watching over the expenditures for the Measure M program. And that concludes my presentation. I thank you so much for your time and welcome any kinds of questions you have.
So I don't have any questions, but thank you for this great comprehensive presentation on all of the facility updates. I mean, clearly there's a lot going on here in the district, and I could imagine the struggles and the work that you all had to go through while we've been in this pandemic. So hats off to you all. Also hats off to our community for passing the bond to make sure that all of this is possible. So, and thank you for being so concerned about equity in our district and ensuring that we're really looking at all of the different sites and addressing all the needs so we can ensure that everybody that's a part of different sites throughout the district do believe that we're doing this in an equitable way. And we're updating all of the facilities to make sure everybody gets their what they deserve and those opportunities. Board, is there any other questions or comments?
Thank you, Mr. Peeden.
Mr. Holguin?
Yeah, thank you. So you already mentioned it, but I wanted to say, first of all, thank you to the voters in Moreno Valley for approving Measure M, for passing Measure M. And because, like you said, that has allowed all these projects to be moving forward over the years since that Measure M was passed. And then we see the future, still a lot to be done. But we have to recognize that the people in Moreno Valley were approved that measure, and also the people that work during the process before the time when the measure was passed. There was a lot of work put behind, the campaigning and the convincing and the documentation leading up to the election when the bond was passed. So thank you to all those individuals that worked hard from the beginning, and then thank you to the voters. And then thank you to all the people that have worked from day one into all these projects. I know Samer and his team have done a lot of work lately, but there have been other people that came before them and started some of the projects too, and then Samer took over and you know, continue the project. I also want to say the oversight committee, the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee, there's a few listed here. Is that the whole committee or are there more members?
Yes, sir.
That's the whole committee. Okay, but also there have been other members of the community that served in that committee in the past that for one reason or another left or their term expired, whatever the case is. But I just want to say, I think this is an opportunity that we have to thank all the members of the Oversight Committee from day one until now for their participation and their oversight. So thank you. And then I also want to say, you know, there's a lot of people here that you can thank for everything that is happening in the projects and throughout the entire district. And you know, at some point in time, we were thinking about building High School 5, and then there was a change in plans, and I believe that change was done very creatively. And for that, I want to thank Dr. Ketziora, because he came with the idea, and many of these ideas have come from him. So I want to thank him for the vision, for the imagination, for the creativity, and for everything that has been done. Many of those projects. I think his signature is in many places throughout the entire district. So I want to thank Dr. Ketziora. But again, thank you to all the people that have worked over the years, and of course, you know, I cannot forget all three divisions, all three branches of the school district, starting with Susana Lopez and the entire business group, because you know, all the pieces that have to be put together for the payments and the construction and all those things. So different departments, and then you know, the people that needs to be there, the human resources need to be there, and then the adjustment for all the teachers and all the instruction side to move from one place to the other, to be ready when the buildings are ready, and to be working in portables while the construction is taking place, and on and on and on. So, you know, it's a lot of people to thank. So thank you in general to everyone that has been involved. And I'm looking forward to seeing, you know, the final product and many of those projects. We have already seen many of them, but there are a lot more. I'm dying to see the final product in Canyon Springs High School. I haven't seen any of I think I saw one of the rooms inside, but I'm dying to see the entire project completed. Of course, my favorite one is going to be the Performing Arts Center. You know, I'm dying to walk in there and see it already finished. We have walked in there several times already and see what is the progress, but I'm look forward to see the final. And then of course, all the other projects. One of the things that makes me more exciting is to hear a couple of you saying that you're going to get rid of the portable classrooms. That's exciting to me, because I think our students deserve better than the portable classroom. So it's great to see that portables are finally, you know, close to being removed. That's my opinion. And of course, all the way the building, the way the projects look, the image that the district is adopting day after day after day. It's something that every student in our district deserves. And more students are coming in the next few years, so they're going to enjoy even better facilities. So thank you, and I'm excited, and I appreciate all the work. And I'm hoping that the community has an opportunity to visit and to drive around the different facilities to see what is happening, because I think is amazing what is happening in our district. So thank you so much.
I would just like to take a minute to say thank you, Samer, for all of your preparation tonight and for all of the work you do in heading up all of these projects. Sometimes I have felt a little bit dizzy with all of what projects coming together, one after another, after another, after another. Now we're doing this, now we're doing this. And I think that part of the reason for this meeting was because some of us were just feeling like it was moving too fast. We didn't know what was going on next. And I think this was a good comprehensive way of telling us where we've been, where we are, and where we're going, which is always good to have that kind of a roadmap for our district and know where we're going in the future, what we have going on now. So thank you for all of your work in putting this together and letting us know what's happening. And I hope that in the future, I know you're planning to continue updates, that as projects move to the forefront and are added from the wish list to the future project list, that the board will be fully apprised of those developments as they come up. Thank you so much, and thank you to your team for all of your work.
Johnson. You're on mute, Mr. Johnson.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. I've already mentioned Sammer, but I'd be remiss if we didn't acknowledge our superintendent, because without him and his foresight and taking a look at where we were and where we could be, I don't think any of these things could be happening right now. Yeah, we had Sammer, and we're very appreciative that he's employed with MVUSD, but you still need that vision. And I think that's where Dr. Ketziora stepped in at and said, okay, look, let's do this and this and this. And so I think he and his staff have done a wonderful job in planning and having the foresight to make this thing happen. And then hiring somebody like Sammer to come in and just turn it, make the things start working for us. I know the community must be proud, and if they're not, they're going to be once they start seeing what's happening throughout the district. I know I have a couple of friends that have talked to me, but just a few, but I'm sure more people are going to be saying more about the things that they've seen so far. The biggest thing that I've heard from people was when we moved the old, I think it was Moreno School over to that area down by the mall and stuff. I remember when we first did that, the people in the neighborhood was telling us that they were so proud of that new building. They were going to make sure that they took care of it. And I think they really meant that, because they're doing that. But it took a lot of forethought and guts for us to, and Dr. Ketziora, to place that building right there and said, okay, look, here's what we're doing for you. Now let's take care of it, and let's get our kids into a nice place to be educated. So again, thanks to Dr. Ketziora and our staff and Sammer. You know, ever since he's been on board, he and I have been pretty good friends. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. And before we go to Dr. Ketziora, Ms. Lopez, do you have anything to add before we wrap up the updates, the facility updates?
No, I'm just, really excited that we were able to present all these updates to you. And, it is a lot of work, and there are a lot of other departments that are involved in making sure it's a successful program. But I just love the collaboration that takes place with everyone, so that we can ensure that we are spending funds appropriately and using the funds wisely and efficiently. And thank you to Dr. Ketziora, the rest of cabinet, and especially to the board for your support as we continue to bring these projects to you for approval. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez. And before we go to Dr. Ketziora, I want to give Ms. Maddox, if you wanted to have a final comments regarding your section of CTE before we wrap up. Ms. Maddox, you have anything?
Thank you to the board again for your support, and also to Dr. Ketziora for his support. The area of CTE fits right into our mission statement, which is to get all of our kids, our students, college and career ready. And that includes giving them choices and options. And I think what you heard tonight with CTE does that. It gives our students, the preparation they need, whether they get a job right as they graduate from our high schools or as they continue in their education. So one more time, I would like to thank the board for your support, your continued support, and also your very positive comments and your motivation. You do motivate us to continue our work. And that, of course, starts with our leader, Dr. Ketziora. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Maddox. And Dr. Ketziora?
My goodness, Mr. Peeden, finally, but I just want to say thank you to Susanna Lopez and to Sammer and his team. And I do want to thank our public, because in 2013, we designed a facilities master plan. And I was new here then, and I organized a lot of the parents that became part of that, which would later become a lot of the parent ambassadors. And I do want to say that in 2014, we passed Measure M. And it was, I just want to remind everybody, there was $675 million in needs identified in our master plan. Isn't that right, Sammer?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That's the need.
And so what's happened here is astronomical and short of a miracle, because when you combine funds from other resources and are creative and innovative, this is what happens in a community, because the general obligation bond was $398 million. And to continue to be able to do what's happening here and what I hope continues, because I like nice stuff. But I just, and I really like it for children. I really like when they go to school and they're proud of their building. And I live here in this community. And, when I came here, I had that Melrose tax on my house, and everybody said, why would you pay Melrose if you could move somewhere else? But I thought to myself, wherever you are, you should contribute to making your community better, whoever you are, whenever you can. And I do want to say that in 2017, when the board appointed me superintendent, I went to Gary Bothan, the then president, and I asked him not to build high school number 5. And he told me, well, you're going to have a series of town hall meetings. And they were probably the most difficult things I did as a new superintendent. But I was really proud. Tina Dagnott was the chief business official then. And, I want to thank the board, because for years that has been something that the board was in love with. It was like, who is your daughter going to marry one day? And you were going to have high school number 5. And how you could separate from that vision and that dream of what you thought was going to happen. But one of the things we had a discussion about, and I just want to remind everybody, was the equity of our high schools. And we realized that our students were leaving our district and going to other campuses. Our athletes were leaving at that time. Our facilities for athletes were not what they are today. That's changing. Our high schools have over 9,000 students in them today, and students don't leave, and they stay. And that's because of our wonderful facilities. So I want to thank everyone for that, because our community is committed to serving our students and to giving them a world-class education, so that wherever they go, it will only rival what they go to. Because when they leave here, we want them to see and feel what it's like to be in facilities that were meant for them. I remember being in Heritage High School in Paris with a group of students at a competition. It was academic decathlon, and the students turned to me and said, Dr. Kidzir, are we ever going to have a theater like this in our district? And I said, yes, not knowing I would ever do what I'm doing, but I'm so thrilled to see that what's emerged at the corner of Cottonwood and Graham. I drive by it routinely, and I am so proud, and I know our students are proud. And I just want to say thank you to the facilities team, because it truly does, people say to me, what's that huge building going up over there? And I say, it's a performing arts center. It's not just a theater, it's a performing arts center. But the gymnasiums, the high schools, the equity that you're putting in there, it's so important. And then the board, when you've mentioned something like Sunnymead Middle School and March Mountain High School, every effort is made to figure out how to incorporate, how to make those schools, better and better all the time. So, there's a lot of need, but there's also a lot that's been done, and we must be grateful and proud of what the community has accomplished with the funds that we have. And, you know, our students, I think, are the benefactors of this. And I just think it's amazing what we've heard tonight with CTE. Did you hear that? How we grew to how many pathways from, you know, before, and look at all these facilities. These things weren't present in 2013. And look, it's only 2021. It's just been 8 years. And look how much has happened, and look how much more is going to happen. So I just am thankful and grateful to our community, but to the people who work here. And I'm grateful to be a part of this. I you know, just treasure what is happening. And I think it's just a beautiful opportunity for our students to get better and better. And I thank the board, because throughout this, you have been supportive and you've been leaders in finding what is needed for our students and always asking the tough questions. And so I just want you to know that it means a lot to work with you as a governance team, and to have that vision of equity and that vision of what is needed so that our students feel value and have equity in their learning and support. And isn't it wonderful? You know, I just want to say, like Canyon Springs High School, they never had a multi-purpose room before. You know, they used to eat outside in the quad on the concrete, and everybody just thought it was okay. And, you know, like people would say, where's the multi-purpose room? We don't have one. We no longer say that. So I just want you to know how all of you you've reversed this situation and made it something that children no longer have to worry about whether it rains. They have an indoor place to eat, or a hot day, they have an indoor place to eat, not in the hallway of a building. And these are the kinds of things that really make me proud. And I want to thank Susanna Lopez again, and Dr. Verdi and Maribel Maddox, because working as a cabinet, they support all of these things, and it's a lot. So Daryl, Peeden, thank you for letting me say a few words. And thank you, board, for all that you contribute to our community. And we have a lot more work to do. We know that, but we've done a lot. And I think we have to be proud of what's happened. And I'm just really proud of these high schools. I mean, I can't say it enough. I bring people to see it, you know, like it's something I do. Like I say, come look at this. When someone comes to visit me, I take them to a school, you know, and they're like, man, I didn't know this was here. And I think all of us should do that, you know. Thank you, Mr. Peeden.
Absolutely.
Can I do some closing?
Of course, please.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I would like to also second what everyone here said, and I would like to thank the community for their generous contribution and supporting the facilities at Moreno Valley City and around it. And hopefully we will have the continuous support from the community all the time, and taking ownership of these facilities. These are great additions, great facilities for their kids, for their future. And I would like also to thank the board with the leadership and the vision. We appreciate that. We appreciate the continuous support and positive encouragement and engagement. I would like to especially thank Dr. Kidziora, who is continuously basically following up, and he gives us access. I have his cell phone. I text him directly some stuff. He meets with Ms. Lopez and myself at his office to talk about details. He's very concerned about the details of the projects and what goes where. His continuous follow-up is very appreciated, and support to our cause is very appreciated. I'd like to thank the cabinet. Ms. Lopez is following up with me on a weekly basis. We texting each other all the time and following up with emails. I'd like to thank the other cabinet members, Ms. Maddox and Dr. Verdi. I am working with their team continuously. These improvements would not have happened without the continuous engagement of the business, I mean, the educational officials, Ms. Arce and Carol Boynholt. They were keystones in our communication about the design of these schools. We were not able to design without their engagement, without their involvement. And teachers, principals, actually, I'd like to thank all principals for being so patient with construction that is going in their site and noise. And, construction is not, pleasant thing to have, but they were so resourceful, so, creative in working with their staff, with us. So I'd like to thank all principals for their engagement as well in day-to-day work. And finally, I'd like to thank my staff who did a great job in managing the day-to-day activities, those who contributed to our presentation today. Thank you all. I appreciate your time and I appreciate your kind and nice words today. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everyone. And of course, before we leave, board, is there anything else to add? Otherwise, we will adjourn our meeting. All right, seeing none, with no further business to come before the Board of Education, the study session meeting is adjourned at 7:46 p.m. Thank you, everyone, for all your hard work.